This is a National 9 News special presentation.
Good evening, I'm Mark Ferguson. Welcome to a special program on the tsunami disaster from Britain's independent television network, shown earlier today in the UK. The tsunami that struck Asia on Boxing Day has been described as apocalyptic, and for once it's not an exaggeration, because for many of our neighbours to the north it was the end of the world and the lives of close to 150,000 people. Mark Austin reports now from Thailand. We warn you that some of the images in this program are disturbing.
It has taken 7 days for the world to discover the true scale of what happened the day that tsunami came. They are 7 days that shook the world. Tonight we'll have special reports from our correspondents in the worst hit areas of the disaster zone. Only the mosque was left standing in a sea of devastation. John Irvine has travelled to Indonesia's deserted coastline and visited the town where no one survived.
Except for myself, my cameraman and our interpreter, there isn't another living soul here.
24 hours in hell. The wave killed most of Banda Aceh's doctors. Our cameras recorded a day in the life of the hospital there, where the few who lived are still fighting for their lives.
I don't know where he comes from, how old he is, but he was suffering from severe dehydration. I think he hadn't had any water for several days.
The tsunami was merciless across great swathes of Asia, but nowhere was its devastating force felt more than in Indonesia's Aceh province, where once there were thriving villages and towns, now there is a wasteland bereft of human life. Yet in this apocalyptic landscape, some say there is still hope. The only buildings standing amid a sea of debris are mosques, powerful symbols to many that God has not abandoned them. But with an estimated 100,000 dead, that faith is being tested to its limits. Our Asia correspondent, John Irvine, he and his own family caught up in the tsunami, and cameraman Sean Swan travelled by air and by sea to reach the so far unseen heart of this disaster.
Sumatra is an island cursed by tidal waves, and history has just repeated itself, although this is beyond even Krakatoa. The notorious eruption that made waves around the world at the end of the 19th century has been eclipsed by a similar catastrophe at the start of this, the 21st. We took to sea for a new perspective on the unimaginable damage wrought by an unforeseen monster. How far inland it bit is denoted by a brown line of dead vegetation. This was a killer wave in so many ways. Look at the height it rose here. It needed to be 80 feet to break over part of this headland. For 120 miles, this shoreline looks the same. Man's creations have been pummeled by Mother Nature. This bulk carrier was moored inside a breakwater. The ship smelled of lost souls. The southwest coast of Sumatra was hit first and hit worst. Plenty of pictures have been taken from the air, but we wanted to try to feel it close up, to get an inkling of what it was like in the small fishing villages, the places where the sea sustained life and has now taken it so ruthlessly. In this village of 4,000 people, the only building still standing is the mosque. Inside the sacred place, we found a villager. He said that only 1 out of 10 people had survived here. Among the dead were his 2 children. The scene of desolation, the bent-over trees, reminded me of those pictures of nuclear tests carried out in the 50s. When we thought it couldn't get any worse, we came to the next village. Again, the mosque was the only building still standing. Geography had conspired against this community. It was hemmed in by hills which funneled the wave. Effectively, this place has been wiped off the face of the earth. The atmosphere was eerie, except for myself, my cameraman, and our interpreter, there wasn't another living soul. In some ways, this is the most chilling sight we've seen over the past couple of days on Sumatra. This was a small fishing village, a little slice of civilization. With the exception of the mosque, it has been erased. I don't know the name of the place, but that doesn't really matter anymore, for it has ceased to exist. These are survivors in Banda Aceh, the capital of this part of Sumatra. They're alive, but the chances are they have lost most of what they associated with living. So many people now have fewer relatives and no home. And it's here that the killer wave began its assault on the city. Miraculously, there are those who witnessed what happened. I'll relay their account. The undersea earthquake happened around 8 o'clock. It was a pretty big shudder, but nobody in Banda Aceh was overly concerned, for quakes are common here. Certainly none of the families who were on the beach on the morning of Boxing Day saw any reason to leave, and it was pretty crammed. Then all of a sudden something very strange happened. The sea retreated, and it went back a long way, roughly 300 yards. This retreat was so quick that fish were left high and dry. Children squealed with delight as they ran around picking them up off the sand. Nobody had any idea that this was the precursor to disaster. Rivers and canals also ran dry as the wave sucked up the water in front, only to dump it back so viciously. We walk the tsunami's path inland. The swathe it cut is so wide, it stretches as far as the eye can see in both directions. It's a wasteland. Horror on this scale has hitherto been confined to the minds of fiction writers and make-believe filmmakers, but now it's jaw-droppingly real. These people were trying to give some dignity to the body of an 8-year-old boy. His father found him after a 3-day search. His wife and 2 children are still missing. He believes they're dead. Nevertheless, he wants to say goodbye, and he continued his tragic quest. This couple were checking bodies. Their children are also missing. They showed us the remains of the family home and then recounted the ghastly fate of a neighbor across the road, a man who survived the tidal wave but lay trapped for 3 days until he died. Why could nobody help him?
Because everybody is looking for their family members, so nobody can help him because everybody is busy looking for their family.
Cruel choices being made.
Yeah.
3 miles inland, and the dead leaves on the trees are evidence of the height and potency of the wave. Among the detritus it carried were a photograph album and a dead pufferfish. 2 miles further on, this is the city centre where the wave was still destructive and deadly. How can this place ever recover from such an apocalyptic occurrence? Before getting here, I rather naively thought that covering the earthquakes in India and Turkey might be some form of preparation, but in truth this is beyond comparison. Perhaps the vista in Hiroshima and Nagasaki was similar after the atom bombings. I don't know. What I do know is that mankind now has a new and terrifying benchmark for natural disaster. John Irvine, ITV News, in what's left of Banda Aceh, Indonesia.
John, one of the most chilling things in your report was the lack of people. What has become of the survivors?
Well, I'm afraid to say, Mark, there are so few people about because so many of them are dead. As we headed out to sea today, we passed through a canal in the middle of this city, Banda Aceh. I simply lost count of the number of dead bodies I saw in the water and on the banks of the canal. And those were only the visible people. The vast majority remained buried. As you saw there in one of the villages we got to today, the staggering proportion, 9 out of 10 people dead. As for the survivors, well, the indications are at the moment that the relief effort is going pretty well. It's all rather chaotic, but there is nothing to suggest at the moment that any of the survivors are dying of thirst or hunger.
And you made the point that the area may never be rebuilt. Is there any sign at all that anyone is even starting to try?
Absolutely not. I think it's far too early to talk about commencing reconstruction. And remember, some of those villages, they relied on agriculture and fishing. The fields have been inundated with salt water. Nothing will grow in them anymore. The fishing infrastructure has been wiped out. Frankly, there may not be enough people to warrant reconstruction in some of these villages.
John Irvine, thanks very much indeed for joining us. 1 week on, only a trickle of aid is making its way to the Banda Aceh hospital.
By mid-afternoon, an Australian Army field hospital is being set up in a disused wing.
If any of you are sick, we'll see you inside shortly. We'll just set up, okay? Right. We won't be long. We're here to help.
Why did I buy a V6 Camry? It's about performance and handling. The all-alloy quad-cam engine combined with knife-sharp agility means you can outmaneuver any obstacle, whether you're in the city or on the twisty stuff. Of course, the drive-away deal on an 04 model for under 30 grand, and the Toyota warranty extended to 5 years wasn't too shabby either. Now you're talking.
At Officeworks, it's back to school with the works. Save $52 on this Texas Instruments drafting calculator, just $177. And save on A4 insert finders, now from just $1.96 each. At Officeworks, the works.
And lemon melon plate. Sure. It's nice, isn't it?
This will be my year.
I will say no to the champagne.
Cheesecake, roast pumpkin. I will resist temptation.
You could give your diet a boost this year. If you have the will, your pharmacist has the way.
Dad always said our powers are nothing to be ashamed of.
All they want is to be normal.
Right now, we just gotta be like everybody else.
But their superpowers keep getting in the way. From the creators of Finding Nemo comes the side of superheroes you've never seen before.
Honey, dinner!
Maybe just a salad! Walt Disney Pictures presents a Pixar Animation Studios film, The Incredibles.
I enjoy farming, every day of it, and the smarter my farming methods get, the more I enjoy it. I'm always striving to get more out of my crops, and one of the secrets to my success is Case IH's advanced farming system. Using AFS, I can assess where the variations are in soil quality. Mapping and guidance technology is my starting point for maximising productivity across sowing, spraying, harvesting, the works. The results are better yields, 10% extra and growing.
Talk to your local Case IH professional and unlock smarter farming.
10% extra yield per hectare, no wonder I love farming.
To kick off our 45th year, this is Beaumont's biggest January sale ever. Big range, big tiles, big savings, big smiles. Whopping big polished porcelain, $24.95. Pattern tiles from under half price. Buy our big now. Beaumont Tiles.
It's Samson's end-of-view sellout. If it's on the floor, it's out the door.
Lounge suite, sofas and recliners. If it's on the floor, it's out the door. Leather lounge suite, dining room suite, entertainment unit. If it's on the floor, it's out the door. Beds, mattresses, bedroom suite, and a fantastic range of pillow top mattresses. If it's on the floor, it's out the door. A range of imported Java ware. If it's on the floor, it's out the door.
It's Samson's end-of-view sellout. Don't miss out. Richmond Street, Portland.
Rockman's and Be Me half-store, half-price sale is on now. 50% off recommended retail price. Over $30 million of current season stock to clear. Rockman's 50% off sale on now.
Now, the hospitals in Indonesia's Aceh province are a vision of hell. Overwhelmed by the sick and wounded, there aren't enough doctors because so many were killed when the tsunami struck. Making matters even more desperate, medical supplies are running extremely low. The strongest painkiller now available is aspirin. 1 week on, only a trickle of aid is making its way to the Banda Aceh hospital. Our correspondent Dan Rivers and cameraman Ray Jones spent the day there. a report contains a number of disturbing images.
It's early morning, and Kestam Hospital reverberates to screams of agony. This woman has 2 broken legs. She's been in excruciating pain for a week. The wounded are being carried in from outlying villages. Many have been trying to get here for days. The chaotic operating theatre is already in full swing. There's no anaesthetic, just immediate surgery to try and save lives. I watch survivors with bones jutting from their limbs endure medieval surgery, hands bound to stretchers to hold them still. The surgeons say many wounds are now festering.
Sometimes we found there is a larva in the wound.
There's maggots in there. The little worms.
Little worms in the wound.
We visit the wards. It's lunchtime. There appears only to be rice and boiled egg on the menu. But some haven't eaten for days. There are orphaned children in the corridors, traumatized at all they've seen, screaming for their parents. The staff here have christened this little boy Adek. They're trying to stop him pulling off his drip, which is obviously quite uncomfortable. Adek means little brother, but they think he's been orphaned. His mum and dad have been killed. They're not sure what's going to happen to him. He'll probably end up in an orphanage here. They don't know where he comes from, how old he is, but he was suffering from severe dehydration. I think he hadn't had any water for several days. And there are many more. By mid-afternoon, an Australian Army field hospital is being set up in a disused wing. It will mean more people can be treated in safe, sterile conditions.
If any of you are sick, we'll see you inside shortly. We'll just set up, okay? All right. We won't be long. We're here to help.
But many have had limbs amputated because injuries have gone septic. As you can see, these wards are packed to bursting point. The patients are crammed into every available space. The doctors here are working flat out. They're completely overwhelmed by the sheer numbers of injured. There is also widespread psychological trauma. Foreign medical supplies have arrived. Even so, there are still shortages of the most basic kind.
We're really low on hydrogen peroxide, really low on scalpels right now. There could be other things as well. Heavy painkillers. The painkillers we're using right now are basically aspirin.
This hospital is filthy, stiflingly hot, and desperately overcrowded. Each day, 400 to 500 new patients are arriving. Later, we found this woman calling out for her children. We left the ward for just 10 minutes, but when we returned, she was dead.
Thanks very much indeed for joining us. Shocking scenes from the hospital there. Why aren't basic medical supplies getting through?
For all sorts of reasons. Lots of things are missing from the aid effort. It's normal. There's been an enormous tsunami, and most of the province has been wiped out, including its civil administration, its medical staff, its health posts, and most of its supplies. So, you know, along with medical supplies, the aid operation is underway, but it takes time.
But it must be very frustrating, Gordon, for people like you who are there to help people.
Well, it's frustrating for us, but it's not as frustrating as it is for the survivors. You know, these are chaotic conditions, as your journalist said earlier, and we all live with those pressures in an emergency. This is, in fact, I'm surprised by the quality of the response thus far, and we've received an enormous boost from the Australian and American militaries. Without their hardware, we'd be a lot further behind.
Okay, Gordon Weiss, thank you very much indeed. Now, still to come on the programme tonight.
There are so many people died. Even I have lost my uncle and auntie and my cousin sister and their son.
The untold story of the remote islands at the epicenter of the tsunami.
Television's most honoured drama.
We were here to serve the country. We are the country.
Over 2 powerful nights.
You're leaving the party as of me? She made it a whole lot easier.
The West Wing. Tonight, 10:30. Continues tomorrow on Win.
For years, this is how many Australians have done their shopping. But now, Coles' new low prices are making value easier to find. These new tickets now mark everyday items, and by price checking over 5,000 products against their competitors, Coles can bring you some of the lowest prices around.
Up to you. Coles' new low prices do the work for you. That means no more rummaging.
4 years ago, Greg Fokker barely survived meeting the parents. But this Christmas,
I wish we could set a wedding date without our parents actually having to meet.
he'll have to survive the parents meeting the Fokkers.
Mom, all right, you know what? That's it.
We're having fun.
No, we're not having fun.
Meet the Fokkers.
It's nice all of us being here together, isn't it, Jack?
The Athlete Sport half-yearly clearance now on. Genuine savings and the best bet on quality brands like Nike, Asics, Brooks and New Balance.
Nice choice. Nice price.
The Athlete Sport half-yearly clearance now on.
The Beacon Lighting Stock Take clearance sale is now on. Low voltage twin pack, great value at $17.95. Kingston fan now $39.95. Stock Take clearance sale on now.
Every day, enjoy the difference at your local credit union. Southwest Credit, service that brings a smile. We go that extra mile to make your banking easy. Every day, enjoy the difference at your local credit union. Southwest Credit.
Hyundai's all-new deals are simply irresistible. Like the 2-litre Elantra. Now, from the attractive new price of $18,490 with $1,000 worth of free accessories. But hurry, you can't miss these attractive deals.
No one's driven like a Hyundai dealer.
Prices are falling through the floor at 40 Wink's biggest stock take sale. Up to 40% off beautiful bedroom suites, top brand bedding in Manchester. Up to 40% off at 40 Wink's store-wide stock take sale. Interest-free terms available. Prices come crashing down at 40 Wink's biggest stock take sale. Up to 40% off. But hurry, on now.
Two tests up and we're looking good.
What a stroke that is.
Can our Aussie heroes make it a clean sweep in Sydney?
Oh, that's our best ball.
The third test continues tomorrow live on Win.
Now all week the world has watched in horror, stunned by pictures of the moment that wave struck, filmed by people on their video cameras. Cameras that should have been recording a dream holiday in the sun turned instead towards the devastating power of nature. The blue sea, the palm trees, an idyllic place to spend Boxing Day, but suddenly everything changes.
I know, I can see it. That wave is a good 15, 20 feet tall. Easy. Get in, get in, get in!
In an instant, hotels wrecked, families desperately trying to reach higher ground. In Sri Lanka, a beach resort is engulfed by the waves. There's a crash of glass as windows give way under the pressure of the water. British holidaymakers filming from their balcony suddenly realised people may be trapped in the debris and drowning. All along this beautiful coast, the wave strikes with terrifying power.
Get up, do it! Hey! Get gear! Coming again! Coming again! Big one! Back up!
Tourists forced to run for their lives as nature is turned on its head and the sea invades the land.
Oh my God!
Across hundreds of miles, pleasure beaches become killing grounds. Holidaymakers clinging to palm trees for survival. Deck chairs, beach umbrellas and tourists simply swept away. One man clinging on as the debris of a day on the beach floats past him. In Banda Aceh, the moment a city was destroyed. This cameraman was planning to film a wedding. He had intended to record a day of joy. Instead, like so many others, he filmed a day of horror. It should be thought of as one of the most beautiful journeys in the world, but Sri Lanka's Route 2 today has a very different reputation. It will now be known as the road along which 20,000 people died. It leads from the capital Colombo to the southwestern corner of the island. Our correspondent, Bill Neely, and cameraman Eugene Campbell and Mark Davey have spent the last few days travelling the road's length to uncover its grim story.
Travel this road and you travel through Sri Lanka's hell. It's hard to believe 20,000 people died on it. Everyone here lost someone and most have lost everything. They survived, but today on the road where they once thought they had it all, they gazed at the ruin their life has become. The road hugs the coast, or it did until the sea swallowed it and its people. 2 busloads and 2 cars, one with a newlywed couple, are still deep under the sand here. Beside the road, the twisted train track and the heart of Sri Lanka's horror. The carriages that a week ago were crammed are today a gruesome sight. Workers still pulling bodies from under the train, about 10 a day. People brave the stench to view the world's worst train disaster. The passengers hit by 2 waves. The onlookers stunned by what we now know happened here.
The authorities now believe that in addition to the 1,200 people who bought tickets, most of whom are dead, the same number again may have sought shelter in or around this train when the second deadliest wave struck. So they're now putting the overall death toll in this small area alone at around 2,500.
The photos of the dead litter the ground. We found another corpse today tangled in the undergrowth nearby. A teenage girl. She never imagined this end to her holiday journey. 4-year-old Nimani is one of the few survivors from the train, though at first she was put in a morgue for a day and a half. She is now an orphan. Her parents and her sister are dead. Today, the grandfather, who thought he'd lost his whole family, came to get her. Drive along this road and you find dozens of children who've lost parents. This girl has lost her father. Many here are now orphans. Their generation has been blighted. In the corridor, a parent watches hundreds of photos from the morgue to try to identify her mother. It's not easy viewing. Along every mile of this road, 200 people died. Today, it's lined with mass graves and with the hungry living. Aid lorries hand out food, but there's not enough. And there's no sign of water. 1.5 million Sri Lankans are now homeless and hungry, 1 in 12 of its population.
People need food.
People need food?
Yeah.
In 2 days on the road, I saw just one foreign aid agency at work, a South Korean medical team, tending grateful survivors. Sri Lanka is mainly a Buddhist country, and today, at the exact moment when a week ago the waves struck, its Buddhists prayed. They are taught that suffering is inescapable in life, but even they didn't imagine it on this scale. Down the road at the Catholic Church, there are few left to pray, and the Pope's envoy is left to his thoughts on this island ruin.
One day is a paradise, sometimes a paradise. This spot, some other days is a hell.
Drive along Route 2 for 8 hours and you see nothing but this. Debris and people who've lost everything except their new fear.
Still afraid for today also.
What are you afraid of?
Maybe it is coming again. It's like a big wave coming again. That's why we are afraid.
Some foreigners stay on here to help, like Daniel from North London, whose British friends also survived.
It's British room. Everyone came out through the roof, you know, and thrown into the jungle.
So one road, it's about 100 miles long, 20,000 dead. And this is just one narrow sliver of a devastated continent.
Sri Lanka's faith has been sorely tested. 30,000 dead now and 5,000 missing. And on the beautiful shore of Route 2, a people casting about for answers to their country's greatest catastrophe.
From your report, Bill, it's clear Sri Lanka hasn't been hit by one disaster, but by a series of disasters.
Yes, someone said it's like being hit by 10 simultaneous disasters. The train wreck would be traumatic enough, but quite frankly, that coastline looks like it's been hit by a nuclear bomb. There are bloated bodies popping up all the time. I saw 2 floating on the surface of a river today, and then there are the new mass graves every day. It's ghastly. The Sri Lankan government admits it really can't cope. It doesn't, for example, have the heavy lifting gear needed to clear the debris. And that's one reason why within the last hour, US Marine commanders have landed here to begin the process of getting helicopters and more than 1,000 Marines here to help. But that, of course, will only scratch the surface here.
And Bill, you spoke about Sri Lanka being a religious country. Are the people there managing to keep their faith?
Well, yes, 3/4 of the population, 15 million, are Buddhist. They're taught that no one can escape suffering, and few here have, but they've borne it with remarkable dignity. I saw nobody crying over 2 days, nobody fighting over food or losing their temper. They're also taught that you can be freed from suffering in some sense by contemplation, and my goodness, these people here have a lot to think about in the years ahead.
Bill Neely in Sri Lanka, thank you. This is the story of an island the world cannot help.
This man has perhaps the worst job imaginable. He has to identify the bodies of his fellow villagers. Then, with the equipment he carries, they're disposed of.
We burned the dead body.
And you're burning how many?
Today, 19.
19?
Yes.
Two magnificent 3 Series, one from Gainesville. Both are class leaders in style and performance. Both feature the highest quality leather. This 3 Series dining features metal, glass and leather and can be yours at an amazing $3,365. This 3 Series leather lounge seats 6 in comfort and can be compared with suites costing $6,500. At $3,850, why buy any other brand? Gainesville.
You know what? I reckon having only one Australia Day, not enough. So I'm getting right behind Australia Month at Holden. It's 31 days, chock-a-block full of fantastic deals. Like 2004 Astra Classic from 18,990 with free comprehensive insurance. But Australia Month must end by Australia Day. So hurry! Holden means a great deal to Australia. Oh no, I forgot my camera.
Take clearance sale is now on. Low voltage twin pack, great value at $17.95. Kingston fan now $39.95. Stock take clearance sale on now.
Create your very own relaxing, affordable lifestyle that's hours of pleasure and so easy to own. Wimmera Spas and Pools, your poolside store.
He doesn't know where he came from.
Stripes. It's quick, huh?
Or even what he is.
He was great, Dad. You should have seen him.
When'd you get out? Out of where? The Pokey. The Do-Right Ranch. DIM Bar Inn. Come on, you can level with me.
Look at this.
Now what?
Now you give it all you got. You'll cheer until you're hoarse. Racing Stripes.
Two magnificent 3 Series, one from Gainesville. This 3 Series dining at $3,365 and this 3 Series lounge at $3,850. At these prices, why buy any other brand? Gainesville.
Every 3 weeks, Sarah has to travel for over 6 hours to receive vital cancer treatment. That's a long trip for a sick little girl, unless she can fly. Angel Flight is a wonderful Australian charity that flies people in need to specialist medical care. Hundreds of pilots across Australia donate their time, their skill and their planes. Plus, our friends at Denizen provide vital funding and support. But we still need more. Providing free Angel flights doesn't come cheap. But then again, our cargo is priceless.
They've jumped from cliffs, ridden camels, and survived elimination. Now, their biggest challenge yet? 5 new girls.
I may have muscles, but I have Tiffany.
Outback Jack, Wednesday, 9:30.
Well, on the island at the very centre of the tsunami, another tragedy is unfolding. Aid workers are struggling to reach survivors, their ships unable to dock because all the jetties were destroyed. A number of islanders have died, drowning and even being eaten by crocodiles as they swim in desperation towards the ships. Among the first journalists to reach Car Nicobar today were our correspondent Martin Geisler and his cameraman Alan Dickinson. This is the story of an island the world cannot help.
For a week we have heard refugees talk about the destruction on these islands. Today we saw it firsthand. Our group flown on to Car Nicobar by the Indian Air Force, the first foreigners here for years. This place is just 200 miles from the earthquake's epicenter. The coastline has been torn apart. The waves ploughed through everything, up to half a mile inland. More than 20,000 people live on Car Nicobar, most of them in communities beside the sea. There's no accurate death toll for this island yet, because some of the villages are still completely cut off, but in places like this, it's difficult to see how anyone could possibly have survived. Certainly thousands died here, and 1 week on, many thousands more are still gathered inland, desperately waiting for aid. And this is just one island. In the ocean all around here, there are dozens more, for the story is exactly the same. This man has perhaps the worst job imaginable. He has to identify the bodies of his fellow villagers. Then, with the equipment he carries, they're disposed of.
We burned the dead body.
And you're burning how many?
Today, 19.
19?
19, yes.
This is all that's left of the village of Malacca. Some of the survivors here have come back, looking for loved ones, sifting through the rubble. I lost everything, says this man. Some, the lucky ones, have made it off the island. In an old school in the Andaman capital, Port Blair, hundreds of refugees are sheltering. Whole communities trek through the jungle to be airlifted here. Some, mercifully, too young to appreciate their desperate situation. they have nothing to go back to.
In our village there are so many people died. Even I have lost my uncle and auntie and my cousin sister and their son. In my family, the 13 deaths.
In Kanagabar, it's just, we have turned into an ashes. It's just like a graveyard. Dead bodies are lying near just our roadside.
The rescue teams face an almost impossible task. These islands are scattered over 500 miles, and even when the aid arrives, there are problems. Hundreds gathered on this beach when they saw a boat coming, but the jetty has been destroyed, so the supplies can't be landed. They can only watch as the food they need sits just yards away. Some of the desperate ones who tried to swim were eaten by crocodiles. The Indian authorities are reluctant to accept outside help. Foreign aid agencies are here and waiting, but they're not being allowed to so much as look at the problem.
The situation is not nice and it requires attention, and that attention needs to be given as soon as possible.
The Andaman administration confidently predicts normality can be restored here, but the rebuilding work alone will take years. For some, if not most of the population, life will never be the same again. Martin Geisler, ITV News, on the Andaman and Nicobar Islands.
Still to come on tonight's programme.
I'll be reporting from the devastated resorts of Phuket, where thousands of Thais and tourists are dead or presumed dead.
That wave is a good 15, 20 feet tall. Easy.
Get in, get in, get in!
Have you taken the lead? Join Win Television's hottest new summer show.
I have dirt in my underwear.
Outback Jack. Now only 5 kills remain, and the biggest threat is yet to come. A physical challenge like no other.
Do you feel loose?
Loose, and someone's replaced by one of them. Then, just when you think it's over.
We just have one little problem.
Outback Jack. Wednesday, 9:30 on Win.
You know what? I reckon having only one Australia Day, not enough. So I'm getting right behind Australia Month at Holden. It's 31 days, chock-a-block full of fantastic deals. Like 2004 Rodeo cab chassis from $15,990 with air. But Australia Month must end by Australia Day. So hurry! Holden means a great deal to Australia. We do this at the MCG next time.
Last time I was so determined to quit, I smoked half a cigarette and stubbed it out. An hour later, I was searching through the bin for it. That's when I realised it had control of me. I needed some help. Now it's been 2 weeks with these. They give me 24-hour protection, and I reduce the strength of the patches as the cravings decrease. For the first time, I feel in control of where I'm heading.
Don't wait. You've got Nicovate, helping you stay calm, in control, and quit.
One of the perks of my job is all the free beauty products, and some of them are pretty good. Of course, they all claim to do different things. Reduce lines, fade age spots, even out skin tone. But when I want just one really powerful anti-aging product, I can't go past Total Effects. It does everything the others say they do, but in one little cream. I wonder if there's a story in that.
Fight the 7 signs of aging like an expert, so you can love the skin you're in. Now you can turn ordinary salads into sensations. Because now the taste of lemon helps you create salads with zest. New craft sensations, available in 3 lemon flavours. Oh yes, did we mention they're new?
Who gives a toss about him? Who gives a toss about them? Who gives a toss about her? Some people do. Give a toss. Hold a Pancake Day event this February the 8th and help Uniting Care toss poverty. Go to pancakeday.com.au for more details.
Crikey, what do you do with your old Christmas cards?
Well, until the end of January, put them into a Planet Ark recycling bin at any Coles supermarket. Or jump into Australia Post and pick up a free recycling envelope. It's reply paid. You just drop your cards in and post it free. Your cards will be turned back into something useful like safe toilet tissue. Cards for Planet Ark, a beautiful way to give the environment a happy new year.
Adrian Britton reports now on the agonising search for the missing.
The elephants on Thailand's coast were doing the labour of man and machine today. In remote areas inaccessible to vehicles, they're clearing trees toppled by the tsunami and towing cars swept away. This one has a body inside. You're looking at what should be a resort of bustling bars, restaurants and shops. What bomb could cause this devastation? This is Patong, destroyed by the power of the ocean.
Papa?
What a different scene it was a week ago. Children playing in the morning sunshine and families cooling off in the gentle swell. And then it came over the horizon.
Oh, tsunami!
This video was recorded by a British family. Listen as their curiosity turns to panic.
I know, I can see it. That wave is a good 15, 20 feet tall. Easy. Get in, get in, get in!
The sea bulldozes its way into the hotel courtyard. A man clambers to safety onto a first-floor balcony. Another looks exhausted as he holds onto two airbeds. Everything was swept in and everything was swept out, objects and human lives. Over 7 days, the disbelief has given way to despair. Bodies have been laid out in makeshift mortuaries to be identified, but the heat has now made that impossible. At the crisis centre in Phuket, families and friends held on to hope that loved ones would be found alive. Luke Simon from Somerset was in search of his brother Piers.
We're confident. If you're not confident, you just fall apart. So you have to be confident.
Others learnt the worst news by the most unimaginable way. Such is the high volume of death that photographs of the dead have been displayed for identification, many with appalling injuries.
What do you want to know here?
Yeah, I want to know who somebody see her, you know, can
This
see
girl
her.
here?
Yeah, there's still
They
here.
continue to come with their appeals and rewards for sightings. Officially, they're still missing, but you have to be realistic now. Even the photographs are beginning to fade in the sun. And just look at some of these faces. Children, mums and dads, whole families, all ages, all nations. And that was the brutal force of the tsunami. It didn't discriminate. It wasn't political, not an act of terrorism. It didn't matter. Race, colour, creed, age. It took the whole lot. Phuket is a province of many cultures, but united in remembrance. At the island's Christian centre today, Thai and Westerners held a service to pray for victims and their families. Emma Pinchers and Claire Jones were on a travelling holiday in Patong and escaped the giant waves by 20 minutes to attend church. They were due to leave last Tuesday, but have stayed on to help the homeless and the bereaved.
I think the first thing was just people coming in traumatised, and a lot of people hysterical, some in shock, and trying to just listen and be there and comfort them as best we can, and we've been at a loss for words ourselves at times.
But they didn't need words to say goodbye to 2004. Silently, they just listened to the lyrics, holding a candle in the tropical breeze and a single white rose of mourning. The old year of the tsunami quietly slipped away. And Piers Simon, the search to find him alive sadly ended here, in an undignified mortuary in the town of Krabi. His brother Luke had identified him by the shorts he'd bought as a present. He flew home in the only clothes he was left with, insisting his brother's coffin was on the same flight.
I actually think we were lucky in the end to be able to find Beard, to be able to take him home, back to the family, put him to rest. To be able to identify him was comforting too, because there are lots of people who are in a far worse situation than we are.
Most survivors have now left Thailand, but behind them are the tourists who came here for a Christmas break and will never go home.
The roots of this disaster lie 6 miles beneath the Indian Ocean. A shift in the Earth's crust led to a devastating earthquake. That created vast waves that moved at the speed of a jet, waves of such awesome force that they flattened almost everything in their path. Our science editor, Lawrence McGinty, has been finding out more about how and why the tsunami hit.
That wave is a good 15, 20 feet tall. Easy.
There are hundreds of earthquakes every year, and some cause tsunamis. But nothing like this has been seen before.
Get in, get in!
This was once in a century, a quake as big as all the earthquakes in the world in the last 5 years put together, generating a wave that dwarfed even nuclear explosions.
Tsunamis are usually created as a result of earthquakes, particularly underwater. And if you imagine that the kind of earthquake that we've seen generated the power of up to 10,000 Hiroshimas, some proportion of that, up to 10%, is transferred into the water. So we're talking about 1,000 equivalents of Hiroshima.
Under the continents and oceans are huge tectonic plates, and where they meet, earthquakes occur. Those plates are constantly pushing together, but they're locked by friction. Early last Sunday, off the coast of Sumatra, suddenly something gave way. One plate jerked under the other, causing an earthquake so great the Earth itself wobbled by an inch on its axis. The quake released a mass of energy into the water, creating the tsunami. Unlike normal waves, which are only feet deep, tsunamis stretch in a column from the surface to the ocean bed, miles deep. At first they move at terrifying speeds, 400 miles an hour. Ships, however, would hardly have noticed the wave as it passed because it rose only a few feet, like an iceberg. Its savage power was hidden. It's only in shallow coastal waters that this power forced the wave to rear up and crash down on its victims like a colossal juggernaut hitting a brick wall.
It's actually a succession of waves. The first wave to arrive may not be the largest in the train of waves, and it may not be the crest of the wave that arrives at the shore first. It could be the trough. If the trough of the wave impacts the shoreline, then the water will effectively recede from the shore. That may leave fish exposed on the shore, which will draw people's attention. They'll move down the shoreline to see what's going on, and then, of course, the crest of the wave arrives with disastrous consequences.
There was simply nothing in its path to slow it down. When the tsunami struck, it struck with devastating power. It hit the nearby coast of Sumatra within minutes, Phuket in Thailand just over a quarter of an hour later. It travelled to Sri Lanka and India's east coast in about 90 minutes, 700 miles away. It was a tsunami that changed the face of the earth. This is part of Banda Aceh, 400,000 inhabitants. 2 days after the Great Wave, every building destroyed. We rightly worry about what we're doing to our environment. In fact, nature makes anything we can do to harm our planet look insignificant. Lawrence McGinty, ITV News.
The world will never be quite the same again. Over 7 days, we have all witnessed horrific scenes of desolation and despair not seen in a generation.
Television's most honoured drama.
We are here to serve the country.
We are the country.
Over 2 powerful nights.
You're leaving the party because of me? You made it a whole lot easier.
The West Wing. Tonight, 10:30. Continues tomorrow on Win.
Good evening, I'm Jeff Sly. Residents campaigning for a rescue helicopter in the southwest
have renewed their pleas after 5 people drowned and 3 were injured at a Warrnambool beach. The victims have been identified as a Sebastopol mother, Joanne Wright, and her 2 children, and grandmother Cheryl Burrell and her adult son, Shane. Employment in Victoria's southwest will be bolstered in coming months as the state government seeks tenders for a $7 million Otway National Park tourism package. It's one of Victoria's largest investments in public land tourism. And Ballarat jockey Gary Murphy and trainer Darren Weir have combined again to take out the $10,000 Burren Beat Cup with Surfy Pete. They joined forces in November in a memorable Ballarat Cup win. We'll have more news in the late edition. Join the team for Win News tomorrow night at 6. Good night.
Fast knockdown kills flying insects fast.
More smart, more safe, more team. KFC's Cricketers Box, an original fillet burger, chips, potato and gravy, a piece of irresistible original recipe chicken, and a 600ml Pepsi with your chance to be part of the 2005 Ashes Tour in England.
Nah, another box of chips and a TV. Here we go again.
He doesn't know where he came from.
Stripes. It's quick, huh?
Or even what he is.
He was great, Dad. You should have seen him.
When'd you get out? Out of where? The pokey. The do-right ranch. The I am bar in. Come on, you can level with me.
Look at this.
Now what?
Now you give it all you got.
You'll cheer until you're hoarse. Racing Stripes.
Look who's having a party!
Yeah, Bob James just turned 75.
And how do we celebrate? With sensational specials like famous brand Dunlop Grand Prix for small cars, just $75. And Bob James' own brand POS attractions for large cars, an incredible $75. Plus hot AMG Glitz tyre and wheel packages from just $699.
Join the party with Bob's 75th birthday sale catalogue out now!
Out where? Bob James Peanuts.
An important announcement to all Australians from Sir William Dean.
At this critical time, we urgently need your help. Please call 1-800-020-046 to support the Care Australia appeal.
We've been bringing you a special program on the tsunami disaster by Britain's independent television network. The 9 Network will be broadcasting a special tsunami relief concert this Saturday live from the Sydney Opera House at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time, including a telethon tally room. The following Monday, January the 10th, Channel 9 in conjunction with Cricket Australia will hold a national appeal for tsunami victims during a special one-day cricket match between Asia and the rest of the world. The 9 Network will continue to provide you with coverage of the disaster around the clock. Our next bulletin is on Nightline at 10:25. We'll leave you now with images of the tsunami and details of the aid organisations to which Australians have been so generous in giving donations. However, the aid groups and the victims still desperately need your help.
Get inside. Come on, guys.
That wave is a good 15, 20 feet tall.
Okay, I'm getting frightened now. We've got to get out here.
Coming again! Coming again! Big one. Bigger! Oh my God!
Get in, get in, get in!
The ocean was just swelling. We could see it swelling in front of us, and we were just running in like waist-high water. There was going to be lots of lives. People were saying goodbye to each other. There was a lot of screaming.